it just makes me think of what's been following me through my motorcycling experiences. I haven't been riding long, I don't feel. I started riding in my mid 20s, I'd say. I didn't have anybody in my life that rode motorcycles. In fact, my dad had this really weird fear around motorcycles and still does, which is strange to me now knowing more of my life and my upbringing. The people that came before me, because my father, his father's family is heavy into motorcycles. So I feel that motorcycles have been in my blood since before I had blood. And my father's fear around motorcycles, I feel, was, greatly translated into my original, or the beginning of my motorcycle experience. So here we are now, and it definitely gives me some deep insight into who I am as a cat. But for the first half or a quarter of my life, I didn't even touch a motorcycle. I just dreamed about them. Oh my God, I would go to 80 Pharaohs there in Columbus, Ohio. And, I'd walk the showroom. And then later on, Big Dog's motorcycle showed up there, in the same vicinity. I think in an old 80 Pharaoh location, Big Dog posted up. And they had, that was the first time I saw a motorcycle dealership that dealt in custom bikes. Before that, I thought it was Harley. Harley was the only motorcycle out there, even though my first motorcycle was a Suzuki. I didn't know anything about Japanese motorcycles. All I knew was Harley, because that's all anybody has ever talked about. And I'm sure a lot of you all are, stuck on Harley. There's a lot of guys that I want to have here on the show that old school cats that I want to have here on the show, telling about their first motorcycle experience. I just chopped it up with my buddy Pretty Boy the other day, and he gave me some really cool insights to his initial motorcycle experiences. Uh-huh.
And I was cutting traffic. Well, I get to downtown, and the motherfucker, it's wide open highway, and then it's tailored down for no less lanes, but it's tailored.
Yeah.
It's coming into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this motherfucker, I'm still getting it. And I'm over Sears' parking lot. And I was on it. Because it was, the echoes was coming from the buildings.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker came by and hit my motherfucking hand with his mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And talked about her.
Left hand?
Yeah, it did like that. I said, oh, shit. I said, oh, what can I do? I can't grab the clutch. I can't do shit. So I downshifted with no clutch. I downshifted with no clutch. And I dropped off in the Sears parking lot and shit. I said, this motherfucker. And then I got off. I can't catch him now, but I'm going to kick his car. Kick his car. But it was because I was showing out. He was jealous.
Oh, he hit you on purpose?
Yeah, he hit me on purpose because I had shot past him a long time ago.
Yeah.
But he kept behind me, kept on, and I was going in between the cars and stuff, and he would fit in between, and then it was straight out, and I was, and he said, oh, motherfucker. Oh, man, it hurt so goddamn bad. I couldn't do nothing with the man. I took it off and said, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't grab, I can't. Boom! That's all I could do is downshift. And I was able to take the ramp and stuff. But I'll never forget that, man. And
how'd you get going again?
I just sat there and
Till it loosened
yeah,
up.
the sting went away.
Yeah.
But it was sore for a couple of days.
I bet.
You know, because any speed, even though it's a plastic mirror, it hits you like that. Bam! You know.
I mean, you get hit by a bug. It feels like a
Yeah,
bowling
bug
ball.
hurts your face, man. You get a bee in your helmet. Oh
Right.
shit!
No, I've just gotten hit in the forehead with a June bug or whatever it was.
Leave his juice on your forehead.
Yeah, of course. It hurt. Almost knocked me off.
Oh yeah, it's coming fast. He's got
Oh, yeah.
velocity, and so do you.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. So yeah, that was one of my best buds, Pretty Boy. I'll have him back on the show. That was a brief interlude conversation that we had, and I love talking to him because he kicks it from the old school. So we will definitely hear more from him, more specifically and poignantly about certain motorcycle things. But that was a brief little interlude conversation that I had when Pretty Boy stopped by to chop it up. So we'll definitely hear more from him here in the future. But, anybody that I had ever heard anything from said the first way that they got started was they got a motorcycle. So I bought that motorcycle. They said, this is the price. And I said, here's the money. I didn't haggle. I've never been interested or good at haggling because... Anyways, I didn't haggle. I just gave him the price. I didn't even come up with a trailer. I had no idea how to ride a motorcycle, so I had a Chevy Astro van, and I took out the back seat and we rolled it in the back. Brought the motorcycle home and decided to teach myself how to ride. I went with the concept of one down, two up. That's all I knew about riding a motorcycle. So I realized that the brake pedal's on the right. The other pedal must be the clutch or the the shifter. So I pulled in the clutch because it wasn't the brake. And you can tell the difference. And I hit that switch and one down, clunk, okay. Started letting out the clutch, the motorcycle started moving, so I said, yippee, here we go. So that's how I started, and I got hung up in neutral before getting to second gear, but I wasn't going fast enough for second gear, and, I went around the block, and that's how I got started. But I got freaked out by city traffic, and I kind of hung it up. I wanted to, and I was going to keep riding, but I bought the motorcycle in October. And then during the winter figured, hey, I'll customize it. I'll make a chopper. So come spring, I'll have a chopper to practice riding a motorcycle on. I always put the cart before the horse. I should have learned to ride, waited until the snow fell, and learned to ride in the freezing cold October of Columbus, Ohio. But I didn't. I decided to take it apart, and my front brake caliper seized up. I didn't bleed it, and I didn't block the caliper, so it expanded. I didn't know anything mechanically, and I figured I broke the motorcycle, so I sold it for scrap. Front brake caliper, and I sold it for scrap. Having an ignorance of mechanics was, supporting my fear. And that had happened with multiple good vehicles. That motorcycle, my Chevy Bronco, oh my God, my Ford Bronco, it happened with, fear of mechanics keeps people fearful of mechanics until you learn how to work on them and realize that there are many different ways to fix a fuck up. So, I had intended to get back out that spring, but then I had a down motorcycle and down spirit and supported fears, so I let it hang. And that's part of you know, what aided in my depression, I would say. What aided in my ability to drink more than a person should be able to drink. Letting go of those fears helped me, fears feel so much better. So, but I didn't let go of that fear until I let go of my desire for life. That's a different story altogether. But once I had enough, I decided to leave Ohio and come out to Colorado. And once I came to Colorado, I decided, F it. Me and my best friend, we're getting motorcycles, and we're gonna get over this, because she had an innate fear as well. No idea where the fear came from, but she was deathly afraid. So we were gonna break our motorcycle fear and embrace what we innately loved. So found a motorcycle on Craigslist once again, drove like 3 hours up north to see the motorcycle. They said, "This is the price." I said, "Here's the money." And once again, I didn't know I still didn't know anything about motorcycles. I'm coming from the experience of seized front brake caliper, throw it in the trash. So they had it running when I showed up. That's rule number one. You gotta question that machine. Unless you don't care, because you can work on anything. So, but it was once again another, what was this, 650? But this was a Honda 650, or 750. Yeah, it was a Honda 750. So, I think we brought a trailer this time. Threw that bad boy in the trailer. Didn't know the first thing about lashing down a motorcycle to a trailer. So at some point in time, we turn a curve and I see the motorcycle start to lean, and I pull over and realize that it's just, it was sliding on the kickstand. So it was about to tip over. So I realized compressing the forks kind of kept everything in place. So just learning this motorcycling thing step by step by utilizing the first step practice of buy the motorcycle, 1 down, 2 up, ride. That's it. And so, I started riding through the fear. It's been a constant, approach for myself, but one that I've been greatly enjoying, because the motorcycle gives you that every moment ability to face your fears, whatever those fears be. You come face to face with that fear, with the experience, saying, "You know what? I just got off that thing. I didn't die. Fuck you." Real talk. It gives you that bravado, because while you're riding a motorcycle, despite the joy, you're well aware you're exposed. There is air all around you. The ground is close enough to touch. All of the fearful things that you're taught to fear, you embrace, you volunteer for. You sign up with excitement. You get dressed for it, because it's that much fun. And as opposed to how visceral the fear feels, the fun feels so much better. And you realize that there's less that you need be afraid of in life. A lot that you've been told to be afraid of. So motorcycles give you a face-to-face reality check with what the fearful guidance of life is telling you is the boundaries that you need to stay between, and what life really has in store for you, and the wide expansive boundaries that it actually has in store for you. Life isn't really as limited as it's been delivered to us. And I realized that when I came out here to Colorado. Because when I lived in the cities, Columbus, New York City, I lived in Georgia, suburbs of Georgia, never the cities of Georgia. But when you live in these built up industries and societies, you realize that there is so much that you're keyed up to fight for. But when you come and live out in the country and realize that day by day, that fight is unnecessary, you realize that a lot of that necessary fight that you felt back in the city was totally a choice. You didn't have to choose the fight, but you did. You signed up for it. You bellied up for it and you did it with excitement. You showed off about it. And that's how you got through living in the city. Otherwise, you were that quiet, meek, scary person on the bus that you wondered how they even left their apartment. Or they weren't the person that left their apartment. They were the person, the shut-in, that couldn't leave. I wish I could have brought those people to the country. Hey, thanks for listening to the Blue Moon Motorcycle Show. I appreciate you tuning in and subscribing. And if you don't, you should. I'll be putting regular episodes out on my website, so you can go to Blue Moon Motor Show. That's blue-moon-moto-show.com. Thanks. And remember, ride your preference. 1 down, 2 up, go.